When it comes to mastering manifestation, there's one thing that I want you to really understand is that presence, being present in the present moment is key, but sometimes distraction is necessary. Now, when we're on this journey of being conscious about what it is that you're going to create, to materialize, to manifest, oftentimes it is something that is on the other spectrum of what you are currently experiencing or living. Oftentimes it takes you being what appears to be a different person in order for you to get that thing. Now, my thesis is that you're not being a different person. You're not on a journey to be a different person. You're on the journey to be who you truly are. So where you are now isn't really who you are, right? It isn't really the expression of your truest form. It is an expression of your false self. And you are on the journey of consciously awakening to who you truly are. And manifestation is the stones by which you are walking along this path. Okay? They're the bricks by which you are placing in front of you as you walk and build this path of awakening. So as you go through this journey of transitioning, what appears to be from one standpoint or one position or perspective to its polar opposite perspective or existence or the other side of the spectrum, it may appear like you are basically going against the odds, you are going against the grain, you are doing what seems to be almost impossible. And that's often a story that many of us create about really coming into ourselves. And what I want you to understand, though, is that as you make this transition, really as you come into this awakening of your true self, you want to do so in the present moment. And this is why we often talk about being in the present moment, because all of our power is in this present moment, right? When you are thinking about being more physically fit, right? And you're going to the gym, being in that present moment is important. When you're thinking about starting a business and you're going through the steps of learning things like marketing and how to create a product and all these different things, you're doing so in the present moment, right? When you're building out or dreaming about your dream perfect relationship, you are building the skills, right, of authenticity, of vulnerability, of communication, love languages and such to really come into who it is you must be to offer or have something to essentially give, right, to your partner to build that connection, that bond, right? So the list goes on and on. All the things that you can possibly desire and want requires some input. It requires some work. It requires some effort, especially in the beginning, because you are changing or you are being different, right, than who you are now and who you were. This is the whole exact point about manifestation. To materialize something that you desire, you have to be the person that has that thing. And if you don't have that thing currently, then you are essentially transforming and transitioning from who you were to the person you are to be in order to have that thing. This is why it's important to recognize your dreams, recognize your desires, recognize your goals, right? The things you wish you could do. They are actually things that you are meant to do. But so as you're on this journey of being present and in this moment, as you're going through each of these, the processes of creating and being and transforming into your true self, there are moments where it is so difficult, right? So challenging that you have to step away and distract yourself from the pain, the suffering, the challenge of this particular kind of or moment in this transformation stage, right? So if you're trying to be fit, you're working on your fitness, you're preparing, say, for a marathon. That's an analogy I always use because I'm preparing for a marathon. You're preparing for a marathon. You're running, you say you're going to run 6 miles today. But for whatever reason, Today is a tough day. Okay. Now you still have to run the 6 miles, but instead of being in the suffering and acknowledging or being in the hurt of it all, right? You have to figure out a way to distract yourself. So what I do is I often look at the trees. I may even count trees. I may even count how many people walk past me or run past me, right? So what I'm doing is distracting myself from the quote unquote suffering of the moment, of the transitioning period, in order for me to actually get the task at hand done. So you want to be able to be in the moment, acknowledge that you are doing the work. You have to do the work. Doing the work represents that present moment, what it takes for you to transform into who you're meant to be in order to have the thing that you want. You have to put in that work, right? That effort. And so when you're putting in that work, there are going to be moments where it's going to be more difficult than others. Even though one day you can be running 6 miles and it can be easy, 2 days later you can be running 6 miles and it can be absolutely horrific, right? Now, again, this pertains to all aspects and all things that you wish to materialize. So now you have to acknowledge that, okay, you're here, you're in the present moment, you are doing the work. But then you have to figure out how to distract yourself from the discomfort, from the unease, from the challenge of it, right? Particularly in this moment, just so that way you can complete the task, just so that way you can get through the moment. So sometimes distraction is another way of being present and in the moment because it allows you to continue to move forward. It allows you to continue to keep pressing on, right? And that's what you ultimately need to do and want to do. You don't want to get to a point where you are in the suck of it, right? And you're suffering and you're feeling the pain or the difficulty and you just decide to quit. So you have to figure out whatever it takes by whatever means to get past that, to distract yourself from really focusing and thinking about that discomfort. And when you allow yourself to distract from the discomfort, you are actually allowing yourself to be more present in the task. And when you're more present in each task that happens, it gets you through, okay? And then eventually over time, it culminates in you actually materializing whatever it is that you desire. So you have to figure out what that is. And this is where it comes down to self-awareness. Asking yourself the questions, really diving deep into yourself and how you have done things before successfully and using those things to get you through this very moment, right? Getting through and materializing and manifesting this particular thing. And as you go on and you materialize that thing and then you look to materialize something else, you're going to get better. The process is going to get easier. You're going to really get into a deeper understanding of self, a deeper realization of self as you are coming into the self-realization, right? So you have to really recognize that presence is very important, but there are different layers and different avenues or even different angles by which you can address it or experience and be present to get you through and finish, right? The task that needs to be finished that is required of you in order for you to materialize a thing. Because we got to admit, action is very important. Doing is very important. It's a very important aspect of being. And so if you're not doing, then it's going to be really difficult. And that is my belief system. It's going to be really difficult for me to be something if I'm not doing the things that person I know myself to be is supposed to be doing, right? So you have to ask yourself honestly, what do you know that you need to be doing in order for you to get to the thing? And when you get honest with yourself about that, then the actions required will come and you will pursue them and you will face them and you will overcome them. But it is making the process easier, as easy as possible. That is what I'm talking about. That's the journey here. And that's the message here that I want to get across. Because as you make those things as easy as possible, you can do them more often. And the more often you take those actions, the quicker you come into being yourself. The quicker you come into that self-realization, and you don't change who you are, but you actually become who you're meant to be. I hope that helps. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and also get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. I'll also invite you to my Manifestation Monday morning meetings every Monday morning at 7 a.m. So please set your alarms. I look forward to seeing you there. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.